Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Shiva Mahapuranam. Shiva Mahapuranam Mahatmyam. Chapter 1. The Glory of the Purana. Saunaka said, O Suta, you are well aware of the doctrines of all the Shastras. O best of the learned people, O great Lord, you speak out to me the gist of stories of the Puranas. The persons getting involved in the worldly pleasures and passions travel over the noble path with their minds filled with devotion. How does their wisdom keep on increasing, and how do they overcome their own mental shortcomings? You kindly deliver your discourse on these matters. In this immensely sinful age of Kali Yuga, all the creatures have started behaving like the asuras or demons. What is the best path for their improvement? You speak out the method to me by which the task could be well established, which is based in the welfare padarthas having the purifying effect. You kindly speak out the same quite convincingly to me. You speak out the method to me by which or with the use of which the persons with spotless clean mind getting free from all the sins could achieve Lord Shiva. Suta said, O best of the sages, you are indeed graceful because a desire in your mind has developed to listen to the narration of the divine story. Therefore, I, quite thoughtfully, narrate the best of Shiva Purana. This Purana deals with all the principles, increases the devotion, etc., delights Lord Shiva, possesses all the divine merits. Therefore, O son, you listen to it, which is like the nectar for the ears. This Purana is the best remedy for the biggest danger, like the death, which bites like the snake and is the biggest danger. The Shiva Purana is the best of all the Puranas. O great ascetic, initially it was spoken by Lord Shiva himself. Thereafter, the sage Vyasa briefly narrated it at the instance of Sanat Kumara for the benefit of the people of the Kali Yuga. Except the Shiva Purana, there is no other remedy in the age of Kali to purify the minds of the people. O best of the sages, only such of the intelligent person gets an opportunity to listen or read it, who has to his credit the noble deeds of the earlier births. The Shiva Purana is admittedly the best of the Shastras and is also the true form of Shiva on earth. Therefore, it should be read, narrated, listened, studied, and well thought over. The best of a person who, with the reciting of listening of this Purana with devotion, achieves Shiva Loka quite easily with all the means of pleasure. Therefore, all types of people should recite it. By listening to Shiva Purana, all the desires of a person are fulfilled. By listening to the Shiva Purana with devotion, a person is relieved of all the sins and enjoying all the pleasure in this world. Ultimately, achieves the Shiva Loka. The merits which cannot be earned with the performing of a Rajasuya and other yajnas, such great merit is achieved with the mere listening of the Shiva Purana. O great sage, such of the people who listen to this Purana should not be treated as humans, because they actually become the form of Shiva. Wherever the dust of the persons who listen to the Shiva Purana falls, it becomes a sacred or holy place. The persons who become desirous of visiting the extremely holy place, they should instead listen with devotion the narration of the Shiva Purana. O best of the sages, in case a person is unable to listen to the Shiva Purana always, then he, controlling all the senses for just 2 muhurtas, a few moments only, should listen to it. O Lord of the sages, in case a person is unable to listen to it daily, then he can do so in the auspicious months. Otherwise, such of the persons who listen to the Shiva Purana for a muhurta, a few moments, or half of it, or further half of it, or for even a moment, they never have to face the misfortune. O great sage, a person who listens to this Purana, he, burning the vast thorny forest of grave sins, crosses the ocean of the universe. O great sage, the merit one earns by performing various types of charities, or the merit one earns by performing of various types of yajnas, the same merit is surely earned by a person with the hearing of the Shiva Purana. O great sage, in fact, except to the listening of Shiva Purana in the age of Kali, there is no other better dharma which could make them achieve moksha. The listening to the story of Shiva Purana or the reciting of the name of Shiva are like the kalpa vrikshas for a human being and bestow the auspicious rewards. There is no doubt about it. Such of the people who have stopped the religious activities in the age of Kali, Lord Shiva, keeping in view the welfare of such people, has composed the Shiva Purana. Such of the people who consume the nectar, they become eternal, but a person who consumes the nectar of Shiva Purana, his entire family becomes eternal. The story of Shiva Purana is extremely auspicious, which should be consumed like nectar by all the people. This should be repeated thrice, which removes all the doubt. What could be said about the reward one gets by the reciting of Shiva Purana? It would be enough to say that by doing so, that Lord Shiva starts living in the heart of his devotee. The Shiva Purana has 24,000 verses and comprises of 7 samhitas and deals with the stories relating to devotion, knowledge, jnana, and vairagya, renunciation. Therefore, one should listen to it quite attentively. The samhitas included therein are Vindyeshwari Samhita, Rudra Samhita, Satarudriya, Shatarudriya Samhita, Koti Rudra Samhita, Uma Samhita, Kailasa Samhita, and Vayaviya Samhita. These are the 7 samhitas included in the Purana. This is the divine Purana, including these samhitas, and equates with Parabrahman and is said to be the bestower of the salvation. This Shiva Purana comprises of the 7 samhitas. Whosoever recites the same with devotion daily is considered to be free from the worldly bondages. O Munishwara, the human wanders in the universe, overpowered with the darkness of ignorance, till such time he does not listen to the stories of Shiva Purana. In other words, after listening to the Shiva Purana, all the worldly fetters of a person are automatically removed. What is the use of listening to the other Shastras or the Puranas which create confusion in the mind? Therefore, one should listen to the Shiva Purana, which always thunders about the providing of the salvation. The house in which the recitation of Shiva Purana is carried out, it is turned into a sacred place, and the persons living therein are freed from all the sins. Hundreds of Vajapeya yajnas and thousands of Ashwamedha sacrifices cannot equate even the 16th ray of recitation of the Shiva Purana. O best of sages, a sinner could be called as such till such time he does not listen to the auspicious narration of the story of Shiva Purana. The seven rivers like the Ganga and others, Ganga, Yamuna, Godavari, Saraswati, Narmada, Sindhu, Kaveri. The seven cities, Ayodhya, Mathura, Mayapuri, Haridwara, Kashi, Kanchi, Avantika, and Dwarkapuri, and the region of Gaya cannot equate with the auspiciousness of Shiva Purana. In case of a person is desirous of achieving of the salvation, then he should recite a verse or half of it of the Shiva Purana daily. A person who recites the Shiva Purana daily with its meaning or recites only the verses of the same, he undoubtedly becomes the noble soul. The one who listens to this Purana at the time of death, Lord Shiva, getting pleased with his devotion, bestows him his own place. A person who adores the book of Shiva Purana daily with devotion, he, after enjoying all the pleasures in this world, ultimately achieves the place of Shiva. Giving up lethargy, if a devotion adores the book of Shiva Purana, wrapping it in a silken cloth, he always remains comfortable in the world. The Shiva Purana is completely spotless and auspicious. It is everything for the human life. Therefore, the people should respect and recite the same with devotion, which would bestow comfort in the present as well as the future world. The Shiva Purana is the best of all and the destroyer of the sins, and bestows all the padarthas like dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. Therefore, all the people should listen to it with devotion besides reciting it. The people desirous of salvation should consider Shiva Purana to be more auspicious than the Vedas and the treatises on lustery. The Shiva Purana is indeed the best for the persons engaged on the task of self-realization. This Purana is a divine padartha and is fit to be adored by the noble people and removes all the three types of miseries. It always bestows welfare and is loved by Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, and other gods. I adore Shiva Purana always with a devoted mind and pray that let Lord Shiva be pleased with me and bestow the devotion of his lotus-like feet on me. Iti Shri Skande Mahapurane Shiva Purana Mahatmye Tan Mahima Varnanang Nama Prathamodhyayah. Chapter 2, Glory of the Purana. Saunaka said, O magnanimous one, you are well aware of the Supreme Tattva. Therefore, you are quite graceful because you have narrated the divine story to us, which indeed is surprising. This wonderful story, listened to by us, is bound to destroy all the sins, purifies the mind, and pleases Lord Shiva at the same time. There is nothing comparable in the universe with this story. We have surely learnt about it. O Suta, with the mere hearing of this story, which one of the sinners are not relieved of their sins? You kindly grace us by telling the same. Suta said, such of the people who always remain engaged in sinful ways and wicked activities, who are degraded by nature and are always engaged in worldly passions, even they are purified with the hearing of this story. The recitation of Shiva Purana and listening to it both are said to be Jnana Yajnas. With these, a person achieves all the pleasures during the present birth and salvation after this birth or after death. The complete recitation of this Purana destroys all types of sins and delights Lord Shiva. The greedy persons indulging in falsehood, those denouncing the parents, deceitful ones, and the killers of the human beings are also relieved of all the sins by listening to the Shiva Purana getting purified. Such of the people who have fallen from their varnashrama dharma or have fallen from their race, who are full of jealousy, such people also with he performing of the jnana yajna of Shiva Purana are completely purified. The deceitful people and those who are cruel by nature are also purified in jnana yajna in Kali Yuga. Those who maintain their bodies usurping the wealth of the Brahmanas and are always engaged in incestual practices or adultery, such people also get purified by joining the Jnana Yajna of Shiva Purana in the age of Kali or listening to this Purana. The people who always perform sinful deeds are wicked and of degraded nature are also purified with Jnana Yajna during the age of Kali. The people full of blemish, the evil minded ones who are disturbed by nature, are also relieved of all the sins by participating in the Jnana Yajna in the age of Kali. With the listening of this Mahapurana and also by reading it, the terrific sins are washed out and the person enjoying all the pleasures in this world achieves salvation ultimately, pleasing Lord Shiva at the same time. In this connection, a historical episode is being narrated, listening to which all the grave sins are washed out. In the city of Kirata, there was an illiterate Brahmana who was very poor and earned his living by selling of juice. He never cared for listening to Puranas or visiting temples or to perform other religious activities. He never took his bath, performed sandhya or other noble deeds. He was known by the name of Devaraja and he used to cheat everyone, including his own faithful people. This Devaraja kept on fighting with Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras and usurped their riches on one pretext or the other by beating them. In this way, he collected a lot of money by evil ways, but that sinful person did not spend even a small amount for religious works. Once, the said Brahmana went to a tank for taking his bath, finding a whore named Shobhavati there. He was infested with passion and became anxious. Finding that a rich Brahmana had been attracted towards her, the whore was very much pleased. He also got delighted by conversing with her. Devaraja, on the other hand, intended to take her as his wife, and she also wanted to be his wife. Thus, having been influenced with the passion, both of them kept on wandering for a long time. Both of them started behaving like a husband and wife while sleeping, eating, drinking, and several other types of sports. The parents of Devaraja, besides his wife, tried to dissuade Devaraja from following the evil path, but he did not listen to them. One Devaraja snatched away the riches of his parents and his wife, killing them when they were asleep. All the riches Devaraja snatched from his parents and wife were given over by him to the whore towards whom he had fallen in love. Devaraja ate the things the use of which was prohibited for the Brahmanas, which always increased Rajoguna, the cause of vice, and Tamoguna, property of darkness. He started taking of wine as well and started eating with her in the same ways. As luck would have it, the sinful Brahmana once reached a city named Pratisthana, where he found a Shiva temple surrounded by the ascetics. Reaching the temple, the Brahmana caught high fever. Therefore, he was forced to stay there, where he started listening to Shiva Katha daily from the Brahmanas of that place. Thus, listening to the story of Shiva, the Brahmana died in a month's time. The messenger of Yama arrived and, binding him in fetters, carried him to the abode of Yama. At the same time of Ganas of Shiva, clad in white garments, holding tridents in their hands, applying ashes over their entire bodies, and wearing the garland of rosaries of Rudraksha, arrived from Shiva Loka. But without finding the body of the Brahmana, they got angry and proceeded on to the abode of Yama. They scolded the messengers of Yama, beating them at the same time. They got Devaraja released from their fetters. They made the Brahmana board the surprising type of plane and got ready to take him to Kailasa. A tumult arose in the middle of the city, hearing which the, the Dharmaraja himself came out of his abode. Thereafter, Yama, finding the messengers to resemble Rudra, adored all the four messengers appropriately. Yamaraja came to know of the factual position by means of his divine sight, but he did not discuss the matter out of fear with the messengers of Shiva. After the adoration of the Shiva's Ganas by Yama, they proceed on to Kailasa, where they handed over Devaraja to the compassionate Shiva and Parvati. This story of Shiva Purana is graceful and auspicious, listening to which even the sinful persons achieve salvation. Sadashiva happens to be Mahasthana, Paramadhama, and Paramapada, which is conceived to be the highest place by the learned people well versed in the Vedas. The sinful person who, under the influence of greed, killed many of the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras, besides his wife and the parents, who was a drunkard, such a sinful Devaraja was purified in the Shiva temple in a moment. Iti Sri Skande Mahapurane Shiva Purana Mahatmye Devaraja Mukti Varnanang Nama Dvitiyadhyayah. Chapter 3, Renunciation of Cancula, a Brahmana widow. Saunaka said, O resplendent Suta, you are well aware of everything. By your grace, have repeatedly been successful. My mind feels delighted by listening to the episode of history. Therefore, you narrate another story relating to Lord Shiva, by which my devotion at the feet of the Lord may go on increasing. The people who consume nectar can never achieve salvation, but the people who hear the nectar, like story of Lord Shiva, their achieving of salvation becomes quite conspicuous. Graceful is the story of Lord Shiva, and so is the case with you, O Suta, because one achieves Shiva Loka simply by listening to this story. Suta said, O resplendent Saunaka, you please listen to me. Though the story is quite secret, still I would like to reveal it before you, because you happen to be the foremost of the devotees of Lord Shiva and are well versed in the Vedas. Therefore, there is a village named Vaskala on the sea shore, which is inhabited by the sinful people who do not believe in the Vedas. Those people were of evil nature, wicked, unfortunate, harsh in their behavior, lived on farming, were holders of weapons, misbehaved with the others' wives, and were quite foolish. They were unaware of jnana, knowledge, vairagya, renunciation, besides the dharma which bestowed welfare on the people. They were evil minded and were devoid of wisdom like the animals, and they engaged themselves in listening to the evil stories of their own faith. The people of other Varnas also lived there, who were also evil minded and did not believe in their own dharma, were cruel, degraded, and were always engaged in the worldly pleasures. All the women of the village were of harsh temperament, who moved at will, always desirous of committing sins, evil minded, unchaste, having misconduct, and were averse to noble conduct. Thus, in the habitation of the noble people in the village of Vaskala, there lived an extremely degraded Brahmana known by the name of Binduga. He had a wicked soul, was extremely sinful, followed the evil path in spite of his having a beautiful wife. Ultimately, having been overpowered with the passions, he became the husband of a whore. The degraded Brahmana, discarding his chaste Brahmana wife named Chanchula, used to have union with the whore. In this way, much of the time of Benduga Brahmana was spent with the whore, enjoying all the conjugal pleasures. His wife Chanchula, getting afraid of falling from her dharma, in spite of her having been infested with lust, also fell from her dharma. But later on, as her youthful health and boisterous virility increased, her passions onslaught became extremely unbearable for her, and she fell from her virtuous conduct. Thereafter, she, escaping from the sight of her husband, destroying her chastity, having a union with some other man, she took refuge in the evil way. O great sage, once Binduga Brahmana found his wife Chanchula becoming lustful, enjoying the union with some other man. The said Brahmana, finding his wife following an evil path and sleeping with another man, was enraged and at once rushed towards her. Finding the wicked Binduga arriving in his house, the deceitful lover ran away from his house at once. Thereafter, the degraded Binduga caught hold of his wife and beat her with his fists, scolding her at the same time and putting her in fetters. Then Chanchula, who had started moving freely after having been beaten by her wicked husband, she was enraged and becoming fearless, she spoke to husband thus. She said, O evil minded one, discarding your young and chaste wife, who had been devoted to her husband, you had been daily enjoying the company of that whore. I am young, beautiful, and remain infested with passions. You tell me, what would be my condition without enjoying the love sports with my husband? I am extremely beautiful and am quite youthful and remain upset because of my passions. How could I manage without union with you? Sudha said. When the wife so spoke to her husband, then the foolish, wicked, and degraded Binduga spoke to her. Binduga said, having been infested with passions, whatever has been spoken by you is correct. Therefore, I speak some welfare words to you, listening to which you shall be fearless. From today onwards, you can freely enjoy the company of your lover without hesitation. You must receive money in exchange for your enjoying love sports with him. You give away that money to me because I am attracted to the whore, and by doing so, the purpose of both of us would be served. Thus, listening to the words of her husband, Chanchula, the wife of the Brahmana, was very much pleased. With the development of the above understanding between them, both the husband and wife moved on the evil path, which was quite sinful. Thus, having been engaged in evil ways, considerable time of both of them was past. Thereafter, the husband of the evil and wicked woman died after some time and fell in the hell. The wicked Brahmana, after suffering the pain of the hell for a long time, was born as a Pishacha goblin in the Vindhya mountain. After the death of the wicked and sinful husband, the foolish woman Chanchula lived in her house with her sons for a long time. The said woman Chanchula, indulging in love sports, kept on roaming about with her lovers for long, and while so enjoying her youthful age was over. Once, as a move of the destiny, the said woman went to the Gokarna Tirtha with her brothers and relatives. After taking a bath in a particular tirtha, she kept on roaming about with her relatives quite casually. Going to a Deva temple, she listened to a beautiful Puranic story relating to Shiva from the mouth of a Brahmana. According to that story, the women who enjoy union with other men, neglecting their husbands, are carried by the messenger of Yama in the hell, who place the burning iron mushalas in their vaginas. Thus, listening to the story of Shiva from the mouth of the Brahmana, well versed in the Puranas, which increased Vairagya, Chanchula, getting terrified, started shaking. After the narration of the story was over, and after the departure of the listeners, she went to the orator when he was lonely and asked the Brahmana. Chanchula said, O Brahmana, I have knowingly travelled over the evil path. Therefore, listening to my story, showering your enormous compassion, you kindly redeem me, O Lord. Because of my evil mind, I have indulged into enormous sin. Having been infested with passion and lust, I have spent my entire youthful age. Today, I, listening to your words, full of vairagya, I feel extremely fearful. The heart of the widow has started shaking. Disgrace to me, who had been infested with passions and lust. I discarded the path of chastity, followed the deplorable sinful path. I innocently destroying dharma and the noble deeds for petty gains, and perform the enormous sins which are extremely painful and terrific. Alas, I am going to face distress which would be enormously painful. Who is going to save me from the hell because I had followed the evil path? How would I face the terrific messengers of Yama after my death? How should I be able to keep patience when the messengers of Yama would bind me by the throat, when the messengers of Yama would injure my body and cause pain by several other means? Then how shall I be able to bear them? How could I be able to sleep in the night, having been reminded of the misdeeds or sinful activities performed by me during the day? Alas, I am dead, burnt out, my heart has burst out. I have been completely destroyed and am extremely sinful. Alas, O destiny, what have you done by making me an evil minded woman? It is surprising that a person is dragged away from Dharma, which provides all types of pleasures and comforts. I am facing crores of times more pain emerging out the piercing of a thorn or falling from the peak of the mountain. There could be no repentance to my sins even with the performing of 100 Ashwamedha sacrifices or taking bath in the Ganga for 100 years. What should I do? Where should I go? With whom should I take shelter? Who would save me when I am drowning in the ocean of the universe? O Brahmana, you are my preceptor. You are my parents. I have taken refuge at your feet. Therefore, you redeem a miserable person like me. Suta said, thus having been influenced with Vairagya, she fell at the feet of the Brahmana. Then, lifting her up, the intelligent Brahmana said, इति श्री स्कंदे महापुराणे शिव पुराण माहात्म्ये चंचुला वैराग्य वर्णनं नाम तृतीयोऽध्यायः।